Security Chief Grexton had also become a friend. He still looked scary with his bug-like appearance, but he had developed a strange love for Brooklyn-style coffee. "It is much better than the nutrition paste we usually drink," he admitted. The cultural exchange program was a huge success. Humans were visiting alien worlds, and aliens were visiting Earth. They were learning from each other and becoming friends. Tony often thought about how it all started with a simple misunderstanding. He had just been trying to be friendly, but the aliens thought he was threatening them. Now he understood that being different was not bad. It just meant you had to work harder to understand each other. One evening, Tony was sitting in his old apartment, looking out at the alien ships that now came and went from Earth peacefully. Pipara was visiting, staying in his spare bedroom while she studied human culture. "Tony," she said, "can I ask you something?" "Sure, kid. What is on your mind? Do you ever regret what happened? The misunderstanding that started all this?" Tony thought about it for a moment. "You know what? I used to think it was the worst thing that ever happened, but now I think it might have been the best thing. We almost missed out on being friends because we were too scared to understand each other." "But you were never really a monster," Pipara said. Tony laughed. "No, but I was just a guy from Brooklyn who talked too loud and waved his hands around too much. Turns out that was exactly what the galaxy needed." The next morning, Tony got a call from the president. Earth had been officially invited to join the Galactic Council, and they wanted Tony to be part of the human delegation. "Me?" Tony said, "but I am just a guy who fixes air conditioners." "You are also the guy who taught the galaxy that humans are not monsters," the president said. "You showed them that we are just people who care about our families and want to help each other." Tony accepted the job, but he made one condition. The meetings had to serve good food because, as his mother always said, you cannot solve problems on an empty stomach. Years later, when people asked Tony about his adventures, he always told them the same thing. "I was labeled a monster, but it turns out I was just from Brooklyn. And sometimes being from Brooklyn is exactly what the universe needs." The galaxy was a much friendlier place now, full of different species who had learned to understand each other. And it all started because one man from Brooklyn refused to let fear stop him from caring about the people he loved. Tony never became a traditional hero. He never saved the world with weapons or superpowers. He saved it by being himself, loud, passionate, protective, and completely, undeniably human. And in the end, that was more than enough. Pipara knew she was running out of time. The Galactic Council was meeting in 2 days to decide what to do about Earth. If she could not convince them that humans were not dangerous, they might keep the quarantine forever. Or worse, they might decide to move Earth's people to a prison planet. She made a bold decision. She would ask to speak directly to the council meeting. Her supervisor was shocked. "You are too young to address the council, and your theories about humans are not proven." "Then let me prove them," Pipara said. "Give me one chance to show the council the truth." Meanwhile, on Earth, things were getting desperate. The quarantine had been in place for almost 2 months. Food supplies were running low in some places. People were scared and angry. Tony felt terrible about the whole situation. "This is all my fault," he told Dr. Martinez. "If I had just kept my mouth shut, none of this would have happened." "No, Tony," Dr. Martinez said. "If anyone is at fault, it is all of us for not understanding how different we are from them. But there is still hope. That young alien researcher is working hard to help us." Dr. Walsh had been talking to Pipara every day, helping her understand more about human culture. He taught her about human families, human work, and human fun. Most importantly, he taught her about human kindness. Humans help each other even when it is hard, he explained. We take care of children who are not our own. We share food with hungry people. We fix things for our neighbors without asking for money. This is normal for us. Pipara was amazed by this. Her species only helped family members, and only when they had to. The idea of helping strangers was completely new to her. The day of the council meeting arrived. Pipara had prepared everything she could. She had recordings, translations, and examples of human behavior. But she was nervous. If she failed, Earth would stay quarantined forever. The council meeting was held on the biggest ship in the fleet. Representatives from dozens of alien species gathered in a huge room. Admiral Kixathara stood at the front to present the case against humans. The species from Earth shows classic berserker behavior, the Admiral said. They are aggressive, territorial, and emotional. Our recordings prove that they are too dangerous to join the galactic community. She played the old recordings of Tony with the wrong translations. To the council, Tony sounded like a monster threatening to destroy everything. Then it was Pipara's turn to speak. She was so nervous that her voice shook at first. "Honored council members," she began, "I believe we have made a mistake about the humans. I have studied their behavior for many weeks, and I have discovered that our translation—" "Computers are wrong," some council members laughed. "A young researcher thinks she knows better than our computers?" one of them said. "Please, just listen," Pipara said. She played the same recording of Tony, but with her new translation. This time, Tony sounded curious and friendly instead of threatening. The council grew quiet. The difference was amazing. "I have studied thousands of hours of human behavior," Pipara continued. "They are not berserkers. They are a highly social species with strong protective instincts. They care for their families, their communities, and even strangers. She showed them videos of humans helping each other during disasters. She showed them humans taking care of sick animals. She showed them humans working together to solve problems. But what about their aggression?" Admiral Kixathara asked. "We have seen them become violent when threatened." "Yes," Pipara said. "But they only become aggressive when protecting others. They do not attack for no reason. Watch this." She played the recording of Tony getting angry about his nephew Danny. With the correct translation, it was clear that Tony was not threatening anyone. He was just a worried uncle who wanted help for a sick child. "This is protective behavior, not berserker behavior," Pipara explained. "Humans will fight to defend their loved ones, but they prefer peace. They only use violence as a last resort." The council talked among themselves for a long time. Finally, one of the elder members spoke. "Young researcher, your evidence is interesting, but how can we be sure that humans will not become dangerous in the future?" Pipara had prepared for this question. "I propose a cultural exchange program. Let some humans visit our worlds, and let some of us visit theirs. We can learn from each other safely. And if they prove to be dangerous during this exchange," another council member asked. "Then we can end the program," Pipara said. "But I believe they will prove to be valuable allies instead of threats." The council voted. It was close, but Pipara's evidence had convinced enough of them. The quarantine would be lifted, and a cultural exchange program would begin. When Tony heard the news, he whooped so loudly that everyone on the space station could hear him. "We are going home," he shouted. But the best part was still to come. The council had decided that Tony would be Earth's first cultural exchange ambassador. His honest personality and expressive way of talking had actually become an advantage once the aliens understood it correctly. "Me?" Tony said when they told him. "I do not know anything about being an ambassador." "You do not need to know about being an ambassador," Dr. Martinez said. "You just need to be yourself. That is what convinced them that humans are not dangerous. A month later, Tony found himself on an alien space station, teaching a group of young aliens how to make pizza. It was the strangest thing he had ever done, but also the most fun. "You gotta stretch the dough like this," he said, showing them how to toss pizza dough in the air. "And do not be afraid to get your hands dirty. The best food comes from the heart, not from being perfect." The young aliens tried to copy him, but most of them dropped their dough on the floor. They laughed together as they cleaned up the mess. Pipara was there too, learning about human cooking. "Why do you share food with others?" she asked Tony. "Because food tastes better when you eat it with friends," Tony said. "And because taking care of people is what makes us human." Later that day, Tony got a video call from Earth. His nephew, Danny, was completely better now, running around and playing like any normal 8-year-old. "Uncle Tony!" Danny shouted when he saw him on the screen. "When are you coming home? Mom made your favorite meatballs." "Soon, kid," Tony said. "Uncle Tony just has to teach some aliens how to be friends first." 6 months later, Tony was back in Brooklyn, but everything had changed. The pizza shop now served customers from 3 different alien species. His mother, Rose, had taken it upon herself to make sure all their space visitors ate properly. "They are too skinny," she complained, loading another plate with food for Ambassador Zethkar. "Eat, eat. You need more meat on your bones." Ambassador Zethkar had become a regular customer. His crystal body actually changed colors when he ate good food, which made Rose very happy. Pipara worked in secret for 3 days, studying everything she could find about human behavior. She watched thousands of hours of human videos. She read their books. She listened to their music. And slowly, she began to understand something amazing. Humans were not berserkers at all. They were the opposite of berserkers. She discovered that the old berserker species, the Kethmori, had destroyed planets because they could not feel love or friendship. They only cared about themselves. But humans cared about everyone. Their families, their friends, even strangers they had never met. The problem was the translation computers. They were programmed to look for berserker behavior, so they changed everything humans said into something scary. When Tony said, "I am walking here," while waving his hands, the computer heard, "I claim this territory through blood." When he called someone buddy, the computer thought it was a challenge to fight. When he used bad words because he was frustrated, the computer thought they were war cries. Pipara tested her theory. She found a recording of Tony singing while he cooked pasta on the space station. He was singing an old song called "That's Amore" and looking happy for the first time in weeks. She played the recording without using the translation computer. Instead, she listened to the tone of Tony's voice and watched his body language. He looked relaxed and peaceful. He was not angry or violent. He was just a man who missed home and was trying to make himself feel better. "This is not berserker behavior," she said out loud. "This is emotional expression." She had discovered something that would change everything, but first, she had to help the sick child. Pipara snuck into the communications center late at night. She sent a message directly to Admiral Kixathera, but she did not use the regular translation system. Instead, she used the new understanding she had learned about humans. "Admiral, she wrote. I have been studying the humans more carefully. I believe the child they call Danny is truly sick and needs medicine. Allowing medical supplies through the quarantine would be a test. If humans were truly berserkers, they would use the medicine delivery as a chance to attack us. But if they are peaceful, they will simply take the medicine and say thank you. Admiral Kixthara read the message and thought about it. The young researcher had a point. It would be a good test of human intentions. Very well, the Admiral decided. We will allow one medical supply ship through, but we will watch very carefully for any signs of aggression. When Tony heard the news, he almost cried with relief. They are going to let the medicine through? Yes, Dr. Martinez said. One of their researchers convinced them to test us. Test us how? Commander Murphy asked. They want to see if we will try to attack them when the supply ship comes, or if we will just take the medicine peacefully. Tony laughed. That is easy. I just want Danny to get better. I do not care about attacking anybody. The medical supply ship arrived the next day. Tony, Dr. Martinez, and Commander Murphy met it at the space station. The aliens watched through their cameras as the humans carefully took only the medical supplies they needed. Tony looked right into one of the cameras. Thank you for letting the medicine through. My nephew is going to be okay now because of you. On the alien ship, Pipara smiled. Tony's voice was full of gratitude, not aggression. This was exactly what she had hoped for. But she still had to convince the rest of the fleet that humans were not dangerous. She had found the proof she needed, but getting anyone to listen was hard. She decided to show her findings to Dr. Martinez through their secret communication channel. I have discovered why we do not understand each other, she wrote. Our translation computers are wrong. They make everything you say sound like threats. Dr. Martinez was excited. Can you fix the computers? I am trying, Pipara wrote back. But I need help. Can you teach me more about human emotions? We do not have the same feelings you do. Dr. Martinez thought about this. How do you explain emotions to someone who has never felt them? She had an idea. Tony, she called. Come here. I need you to help me teach an alien about human feelings. What do you want me to do? Tony asked. Just be yourself. Talk about your family. Talk about why you were angry about Danny. But speak slowly and clearly. Tony sat down in front of the camera. Okay, hi there, alien friend. My name is Tony Castellano. I am from Brooklyn, which is part of New York City on Earth. On the alien ship, Pipara watched carefully. She turned off the translation computer and just listened to Tony's voice. I was angry about my nephew Danny because I love him, Tony continued. In human families, we take care of each other. When someone we love is hurt or sick, we feel bad inside. We want to help them. Sometimes that makes us speak loudly or move our hands a lot. But it is not because we want to fight. It is because we care so much that it makes us emotional. Pipara was fascinated. The way Tony's voice changed when he talked about his nephew was completely different from how a berserker would sound. Can you explain the difference between good anger and bad anger? Dr. Martinez asked. Tony thought for a moment. Good anger is when you get mad because someone you care about is being hurt and you want to protect them. Bad anger is when you get mad because you want to hurt someone for no good reason. I got good anger when Danny was sick. I never get bad anger because I do not like hurting people. Pipara started to understand. Humans had something her species did not have. They had protective instincts for people who were not even their own children. What about when you wave your hands around? Dr. Martinez asked. Tony laughed. Oh, that is just how people from Brooklyn talk. We move our hands to help explain things. It is not threatening. It is just expressive. Like this. He gestured while he talked, showing how natural it was for him. For the next hour, Tony answered questions about human behavior. He explained why humans laughed, why they cried, why they hugged each other, and why they made music. Pipara recorded everything. Then she spent all night creating a new translation program based on what she had learned. Instead of looking for threats, it looked for emotions and context. The next morning, she was ready to test it. She took one of the recordings from Tony's first meeting with the aliens and ran it through her new translator. The old translation had made Tony sound like this. I claim dominance over you strange beings. I challenge your authority in this territory. You will submit to my pack's superiority. The new translation made Tony sound like this. Wow, you look amazing. I have never seen anything like you before. This is so exciting. How do you work? You must be very good at building things with all those arms. Pipara sat back in amazement. Tony had not been threatening them at all. He had been complimenting them and asking questions because he was curious and excited to meet them. She ran more, recordings through the new translator. Every single conversation showed the same thing. Tony was not a berserker. He was friendly, curious, protective of his family, and a little lonely for home. In other words, he was just a normal person. Pipara knew she had to share this discovery, but she also knew that the other aliens would not believe her easily. They had been afraid of berserkers for so long that fear clouded their judgment. She decided to start small. She showed her findings to one other young researcher who worked with her, then another. Slowly, word began to spread through the research ship that maybe they had made a mistake about humans, but the military officers were harder to convince. Security Chief Grexton refused to even look at Pipara's new translation program. Berserkers are clever, he insisted. They are probably tricking the young researcher with false emotions. Pipara felt frustrated, just like Tony had felt. She knew the truth, but the people in charge would not listen to her. Then she had an idea. If the aliens would not listen to facts, maybe they would listen to feelings. She sent a message to Tony. Can you sing that song again? The one called That's Amore? Tony was confused but happy to help. Sure, but why? I want to show my people something about human emotions, Pipara wrote back. So Tony sang. He sang about love and happiness and feeling good when you are with people who care about you. He sang with his whole heart, the way he always did when he was happy. Pipara played the recording for the other aliens without telling them what it was. She just asked them to listen and tell her what they heard. It sounds like joy, one alien said, confused. It sounds peaceful, said another. It sounds like the being is content and happy, said a third. That is correct, Pipara said. That is the sound of a human who is not thinking about violence at all. That is the sound of someone who just wants to go home to his family. 4. The first time some of the other aliens began to doubt whether humans were really dangerous. It was a start. But Pipara knew that changing everyone's mind would take time, and she was not sure how much time they had before the council decided what to do with Earth permanently. Tony could not sleep. He kept thinking about Danny getting sicker while the aliens blocked the medicine. For 2 days he paced around the space station like a caged animal. Dr. Martinez and Commander Murphy tried to keep him calm, but it was not working. That is it, Tony said on the third morning. I am done waiting around. My nephew needs help, and these aliens are being stupid about it. Tony, please think about this, Dr. Martinez said. If you make them more angry, they might never let the medicine through. They are not letting it through now, Tony said. At least if I make them mad, they will know how I feel about it. He marched over to the radio and pressed the button. Hey, Admiral whatever your name is, this is Tony Castellano, the guy you think is a monster. I want to talk to you. The radio stayed quiet for a minute. Then the cold voice came back. The Berserker wishes to communicate. We are listening. Good. Now listen real good because I am only going to say this once. My nephew Danny is 8 years old. He is sick, and he needs medicine. You can think I am dangerous all you want, but that kid never did nothing to nobody. Let the medicine through or we are going to have a problem. The alien admiral's voice got even colder. The Berserker threatens violence to protect its offspring. Classic pack behavior. This confirms all our theories about your species. Offspring? Tony said. He is my nephew, not my kid. And I am not threatening violence. I am asking you to help a sick child. What is wrong with you people? Commander Murphy pulled Tony away from the radio. You are making it worse again. How can it get worse? Tony shouted. They already think we are monsters. At least now they know I am not going to sit here quietly while kids get sick. Up on the alien research ship, Pipara was listening to everything. She had been studying human behavior for weeks now, and something about Tony's words made her think. She went to her computer and looked up the word nephew. In the human language, it meant the child of a sibling. But Tony was willing to fight an entire alien fleet for this child that was not even his own offspring. Fascinating, she said to herself. She had never heard of a species that cared so much for children that were not their own. Pipara decided to do something dangerous. She hacked into the human internet and started reading everything she could find about Tony Castellano. She found his social media pages. She found news stories about him. She found the hashtag his sister had started. What she found changed everything she thought about humans. There were pictures of Tony at birthday parties making children laugh. There were stories from his neighbors about how he helped fix things for free when people could not afford to pay. There were videos of him playing with his family's children, teaching them how to fix simple things. This is not berserker behavior, Pipara said. This is caring behavior. She dug deeper into the human internet. She found something called comedy shows, where humans made jokes and laughed together. She found music that made humans happy or sad. She found movies where humans helped each other and saved people they did not even know. The more she learned, the more confused she became. Nothing about human behavior matched what berserkers were supposed to be like. On Earth, Maria was not giving up. The Let Tony Home hashtag was spreading around the world. People were sharing stories about times when humans helped each other. They shared pictures of families taking care of sick children. They shared videos of people working together to solve problems. If my brother is a monster, Maria posted online, then we are all monsters, because he is just like the rest of us. Dr. Walsh was working day and night to understand the alien language better. He had figured out some basic words, but the grammar was very different from any human language. I think I know part of the problem, he told General Hayes. Their language does not have words for some human emotions. They do not understand the difference between anger that wants to hurt someone and anger that wants to protect someone. What do you mean? General Hayes asked. When Tony gets mad about his nephew being sick, the aliens hear it as the same kind of anger that wants to destroy things. They cannot tell the difference. Meanwhile, On the alien command ship, Admiral Kixathara was getting reports from her research team. "What is the current status of the Berserker?" she asked. "The specimen continues to show aggressive behavior," Science Officer Velnara reported. "It becomes more violent when discussing its pack members." "And the other humans on the planet? They seem to be supporting the Berserker. There is some kind of communication network where they share images and stories about it." Admiral Kixathara nodded. "Classic pack behavior. They are rallying around their Alpha Berserker." But Pipara was no longer sure about any of this. She had found something on the human internet that confused her even more. It was a video of Tony from before he went to space. He was at a children's hospital, dressed up like a silly character, making sick kids laugh. Why would a berserker care about sick children? She wondered. She decided to take a big risk. She sent a private message to Dr. Walsh on Earth. She used simple words that she had learned from studying human language. "I am alien researcher. I study human Tony. I think we make mistake. Can you help me understand?" Dr. Walsh almost fell out of his chair when he got the message. He quickly called General Hayes and Dr. Martinez. "An alien is trying to contact us," he said. "She thinks they made a mistake about Tony." "What should we do?" General Hayes asked. "We should talk to her," Dr. Martinez said. "If there is one alien who is willing to listen, maybe we can fix this." Dr. Walsh typed back carefully. "We want to help you understand. Tony is not dangerous. He is protective of family. This is normal for humans," Pipara replied quickly. "What is protective? Our words do not have this meaning." Dr. Walsh thought for a moment. Then he typed, "Protective means you want to keep someone safe from harm. You will fight to protect them, but only to keep them safe. You do not want to hurt others unless they try to hurt the ones you love." This was a new idea for Pipara. Her species did not have strong family bonds like humans did. They cared for their offspring until they could take care of themselves, and then they left them alone. So Tony becomes angry, not because he wants to destroy, but because he wants to protect his nephew, she typed. "Yes," Dr. Walsh typed back. "And he is frustrated because he cannot help his nephew while the quarantine is in place." Pipara sat back in her chair. Everything made sense now. Tony was not a berserker at all. He was just a human who loved his family. She looked at all the data her people had collected about Tony. His loud voice was not a war cry. It was just how people from his part of Earth talked. His hand gestures were not territorial displays. They were just how he expressed himself. His emotional responses were not signs of violence. They were signs of caring. "We have made a terrible mistake," she said to herself. But convincing the rest of the alien fleet would not be easy. They had been afraid of berserkers for so long that they saw danger everywhere. Pipara knew she had to try. She gathered up all her research, and went to see her supervisor. But when she explained what she had learned, he just shook his head. "You are young and inexperienced," he said. "You do not understand how clever berserkers can be. They might seem caring to trick us into letting our guard down." "But what if we are wrong?" Pipara asked. "What if they really are just a caring species that we do not understand?" "Then the galaxy is safe anyway," her supervisor said. "It is better to be careful than sorry." Pipara felt frustrated, just like Tony did. She knew the truth, but nobody would listen to her. That night, she made a decision. If the adults would not listen, maybe she could find another way. She started working on a plan to prove that humans were not dangerous. But first, she had to convince them to let the medicine through for Danny. A sick child was more important than anything else. She sent another message to Dr. Walsh. I will try to help with medicine for child, but I need proof that humans are not dangerous. Can you show me? Dr. Walsh smiled when he read the message. Finally, they had found an alien who was willing to listen. Tony, he called. Come here. I think we found a way to help Danny. For the first time in days, Tony looked hopeful. Maybe there was a chance to fix this mess after all. 3 weeks had passed since the aliens left, and Tony was getting tired of living in space. He missed his apartment in Brooklyn. He missed his family's pizza shop. Most of all, he missed being able to walk outside without wearing a spacesuit. Dr. Martinez spent most of her time trying to contact the aliens again. Commander Murphy watched the space around Earth through big telescopes. Tony fixed things on the space station and tried not to think about how much trouble he had caused. Then the alarms started ringing. They are back, Commander Murphy said, looking at his screens. And they brought friends. Tony looked out the window and saw more spaceships than he could count. They were all different shapes and sizes, but they all looked dangerous. The ships formed a big circle around Earth, like a fence. How many ships is that? Tony asked. At least 50, Dr. Martinez said. Maybe more. A new voice came through their radio. It sounded colder than the crystal alien from before. This is Fleet Admiral Kixathara of the Galactic Council Defense Force. We have placed Earth under quarantine. No ships may leave or enter this system. Dr. Martinez pressed the button to talk back. This is Dr. Lisa Martinez. We request a meeting to discuss this misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding, the Admiral said. Your species has been classified as Berserker-level threat. We are here to protect the galaxy from you. Tony grabbed the radio. Hey, lady, we are not dangerous. I am just a guy who fixes stuff. Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot here. The radio went quiet for a long time. Then the Admiral spoke again. The Berserker specimen is still present. All communication attempts will be recorded and studied. Berserker specimen? Tony said. I got a name, you know. It is Tony Castellano, and I am not a specimen. Commander Murphy pulled Tony away from the radio. You are making it worse again. Down on Earth, things were getting crazy. Tony could see the alien ships in the sky even during the day. People were scared. The president went on TV every day to tell everyone to stay calm, but nobody was calm. General Patricia Hayes was put in charge of dealing with the aliens. She called Tony, Dr. Martinez, and Commander Murphy down to Earth for a meeting. So let me understand this, General Hayes said when they met in a big room full of important people. Mr. Castellano here scared the aliens just by talking to them? I was being friendly, Tony said. I do not understand what I did wrong. Dr. Kevin Walsh, a scientist who studied alien languages, looked at his computer. I have been studying the recordings from your meeting. The aliens use very different body language than we do. When you pointed and waved your hands, they saw it as a threat. But pointing is normal, Tony said. Everyone points. Not everyone is human, Dr. Walsh said. What is normal for us might be scary for them. General Hayes looked tired. Can we fix this? Can we make them understand? I am trying, Dr. Walsh said. But their language is very hard, and they will not talk to us anymore. While the important people talked, Tony looked out the window. He could see one of the alien ships floating in the sky above the city. It made him feel bad to know that his big mouth had caused all this trouble. Back in space, the aliens were watching everything humans did. They had special cameras that could see through walls. They watched Tony eat breakfast. They watched him brush his teeth. They watched him call his cousin Vinny on the phone. "Ma wants to know when you are coming home," Vinny said through the phone. "She made extra meatballs for Sunday dinner." "I do not know, Vinny," Tony said. "I kind of messed things up here." "What do you mean messed up?" "You are in space." "That is cool." "Yeah, but now the aliens think all humans are dangerous because of me." The aliens recorded everything Tony said. When he talked about meatballs, they thought he was talking about weapons. When he said he messed things up, they thought he was planning to mess up more things. On the alien ship, Science Officer Velnara studied the recordings. The Berserker speaks of meatballs with great excitement. This must be some kind of explosive device. Security Chief Grexton clicked his claws. And notice how it becomes more aggressive when discussing its pack. Classic Berserker behavior. Ambassador Zethkar looked worried. The humans' emotional responses are very strong. Much stronger than any species we have met before. "That is what makes them dangerous," Grexton said. "Strong emotions lead to violence." But there was one alien who was not so sure. Her name was Pipara, and she was young for an alien. She worked in the research department and was supposed to study human behavior. Pipara watched the recordings of Tony over and over. She saw him laugh at something on his computer. She saw him get sad when he looked at pictures of his family. She saw him get excited when he fixed something that was broken. "This does not look like Berserker behavior to me," she said to her boss. "You are young," her boss said. "You do not understand how dangerous Berserkers can be." But Pipara kept watching. She found old human TV shows that leaked through space. She watched something called comedy shows, where humans made each other laugh. She watched families eating together and being happy. Why would Berserkers make entertainment about being kind to each other? She wondered. Meanwhile, Tony's nephew Danny got sick. He needed special medicine, but the alien quarantine would not let any supply ships reach Earth. Tony's sister Maria called him crying. "Danny is getting worse, Tony," she said. "The doctors say they need that medicine from the space station, but the aliens will not let it through." Tony felt his face get hot. This was not about him anymore. This was about his family. "Those aliens better let that medicine through, or I am going to have words with them." Dr. Martinez tried to calm him down. "Tony, getting angry will not help." "My nephew is sick because of their stupid quarantine," Tony said, his voice getting louder. "I do not care if they think I am dangerous. They need to let that medicine through right now." The aliens recorded everything. When they heard Tony get angry about his nephew, they were sure he was a berserker. Only a violent species would get so upset so quickly. But Pipara heard something different. She heard an uncle who loved his nephew. She heard someone who would do anything to protect his family. Maybe, she thought, we do not understand humans at all. On Earth, Maria started something called a hashtag on the internet. She called it Let Tony Home, and told everyone that the dangerous alien monster was just her brother who fixed air conditioners and made really good meatballs. Soon, people all over Earth were sharing stories about Tony. His neighbors talked about how he helped them fix their heaters in winter. His customers talked about how he always did good work for fair prices. His family shared pictures of him playing with kids at family parties. "This is the monster the aliens are afraid of?" people asked. "This guy?" But the aliens did not see any of this. They only saw what their computers told them to see, and their computers said Tony was dangerous. General Hayes tried one more time to contact the alien admiral. "Please, Admiral Kixathara, let us explain. The man you are afraid of is not dangerous. We have studied the Berserker for 3 weeks, the Admiral said. Our conclusion is final. Humans are too dangerous to join the galactic community. Tony grabbed the radio again. Look, I do not know what your problem is, but my nephew needs medicine. You can think I am a monster if you want, but do not punish sick kids because you do not like me. The Admiral's voice got colder. The Berserker threatens us now. This confirms our assessment. Tony threw his hands up in the air. I am not threatening nobody. I am asking you to help a sick kid. What kind of people are you? But the aliens had already turned off their radio. They would not listen anymore. That night, Tony sat by the window looking at Earth. He could see the lights of New York City far below. Somewhere down there, his nephew was sick, and it was his fault. I should have kept my mouth shut, he said to himself. Dr. Martinez sat down next to him. This is not your fault, Tony. We just do not understand each other yet. Yeah, well, understanding. Each other is not helping Danny get better, Tony said. He did not know that up in the alien research ship, Pipara was working late into the night. She was studying every piece of human entertainment she could find. And slowly, she was starting to understand that maybe humans were not monsters after all. Tony Castellano wiped his greasy hands on his work clothes and looked at the broken communication machine. He never thought he would be fixing alien equipment in space. 3 days ago, he was just a regular guy from Brooklyn who fixed air conditioners. Now he was stuck on a spaceship heading toward other aliens. The whole thing started when the government picked Dr. Lisa Martinez to talk to the aliens. She was smart and knew about space stuff. They also picked Commander Jake Murphy from the military to keep everyone safe. Tony was just supposed to fix their radio and go home. But the spaceship left early and now he was stuck with them. Tony, you done with that thing yet? Commander Murphy asked. He looked nervous. Tony did not blame him. Meeting aliens for the first time was scary. Almost got it, Tony said, hitting the machine with his wrench. This piece of junk is worse than my cousin Vinny's old car. Dr. Martinez looked up from her notes. Please be careful with that equipment. It costs more money than you make in 10 years. Yeah, well, it still needs a good whack sometimes, Tony said. He gave the machine another hit, and it started working again. There we go. Brooklyn engineering at its best. The spaceship's computer made a beeping sound. A voice came through the speakers. Unknown vessel. This is the Galactic Council, Ship Harmony's Edge. We are here for the scheduled meeting with the human species. Tony looked out the window and saw the alien ship. It was huge and shiny, like a giant metal fish floating in space. Strange lights blinked all over it. Holy cow, he said. Look at the size of that thing. Dr. Martinez pressed a button to talk. Back. This is Dr. Lisa Martinez representing Earth. We are ready for the meeting. Good, the alien voice said. We will dock with your ship in 10 minutes. Please prepare your representatives. Tony watched as the alien ship got closer. Metal arms came out of it and grabbed onto their ship. There was a loud clunking sound, and then everything was quiet. Okay, Dr. Martinez said. Remember what we talked about. Be polite. Do not make sudden moves. Let me do most of the talking. What? About me? Tony asked. Should I stay here? Commander Murphy shook his head. You are part of the team now. Just try not to break anything. The door to their ship opened with a hiss. 3 aliens walked in, and Tony's mouth fell open. He had seen aliens in movies, but this was real life. The first alien was tall and looked like it was made of blue crystal. Light moved through its body like water. When it talked, its voice sounded like music. Greetings, humans. I am Ambassador Zethkar. The second alien had long arms covered in tentacles. It looked like a giant octopus standing up. Purple skin covered its body, and big black eyes stared at them. I am Science Officer Velnara, it said in a bubbly voice. The third alien scared Tony the most. It looked like a giant bug covered in metal armor. Sharp claws clicked when it moved, and its red eyes glowed in the dark. Security Chief Grexton, it said in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. Dr. Martinez stepped forward and smiled. Welcome to our ship. I am Dr. Lisa Martinez. This is Commander Jake Murphy and Tony Castellano. The crystal alien nodded. We are happy to meet the human species. The Galactic Council has waited long for this day. Tony tried to stay quiet, but the aliens were amazing. He had never seen anything like them. Wow, he said, pointing at the crystal alien. You look like a giant blue rock. That is so cool. All three aliens stepped back. The bug alien made a hissing sound. The octopus alien's tentacles moved fast, and the crystal alien's light turned red. Tony, Dr. Martinez said quietly, please do not point. But Tony was excited now. He waved his hands around like he always did when he talked. Sorry. I just never seen anything like you guys before. You are like something from a movie. How do you even work? I mean, you are made of rock, right? And you, he pointed at the octopus alien, how many arms you got there? That must be handy for fixing things. The aliens moved closer together. They started making strange sounds Tony could not understand. Commander Murphy put his hand on his gun. Is there a problem? The bug alien's claws got longer. Territorial display detected. Aggressive posturing confirmed. Species shows berserker traits. Wait, what? Tony said, still waving his hands. I am not being aggressive. I am just talking here. Dr. Martinez tried to fix things. There has been a misunderstanding. Tony is just excited to meet you. He means no harm. But the crystal alien was already backing toward the door. The human shows classic berserker behavior patterns. Loud vocalizations, territorial gestures, and aggressive stance. We must report this to the council immediately. Hold on a minute, Tony said, getting louder. I am not being aggressive. This is just how I talk. I am from Brooklyn, you know. We are all loud there. The aliens moved faster toward their ship. The octopus alien was making clicking sounds, and the bug alien kept its claws out. Please wait, Dr. Martinez called after them. We can explain. But it was too late. The aliens ran back to their ship. Tony could hear them talking in their strange language through the open door. What the hell just happened? Tony asked. I was just being friendly. Commander Murphy shook his head. I think you scared them, Tony. Scared them? I was just talking. How can talking scare aliens who travel through space? Through the window, Tony watched the alien ship pull away from theirs. The crystal alien's voice came through their radio one more time. Alert to Galactic Council. Humans confirmed as berserker species. Recommend immediate containment protocols. This species is extremely dangerous. Dr. Martinez sat down hard in her chair. Oh no, this is very bad. Tony looked confused. What is a berserker? And why do they think I am dangerous? I fix air conditioners for a living. Commander Murphy was already working on the radio, trying to call Earth. A berserker species is something that destroys everything it touches. And thanks to you, they think all humans are like that. But I did not do nothing wrong, Tony said. I just talked to them like I talk to everyone. That is the problem, Dr. Martinez said. Your way of talking is very different from theirs. They do not understand it. Tony watched the alien ship disappear into space. He felt bad about scaring them, but he still did not understand what he had done wrong. All he did was try to be friendly. "So what happens now?" he asked. Dr. Martinez looked worried. "Now we wait and hope they give us a chance to explain before they decide what to do with Earth." Tony sat down and put his head in his hands. He came here to fix a radio, and now the whole planet might be in trouble because of him. His mother was going to kill him if she found out about this. Outside the window, space looked very big and very empty. Tony wondered if the aliens would come back, and if they did, would they listen this time? He hoped so, because he really wanted to go home to Brooklyn.